Hi guys, so today we're going to do a monthly wrap up. I only have one physical book with me. The rest of the books I read this month were library books. So let's get started. So first we have The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna. I hope that's how you say it. So this book is about a girl who, it's about girls, and when they turn, I think it's 16, they have to be tested to see if they're pure, and if they are not pure, then they are killed. But in the main character's case of this book, she turns into somebody who can control the evil creatures that come and haunt their towns, and she's tasked with joining the army to fight them. And then we have The Night the Angels Came by Cathy. So The Night the Angels Came is about a young boy who is being looked after by Cathy because his dad is in hospital as he has cancer, and his mum died when he was young, so he doesn't have anyone else to look after him. Cathy and her family get really close to the young boy and his dad. So when his dad finally dies towards the end of the book of cancer, Cathy and her family are really upset, and it just tells us about the young boy who's going through all different feelings and emotions, so that they can kind of prepare him for the fact that his dad is going to pass away and that he's going to have to get used to living with a new family. Then I read Family of Liars by Lockhart, which is the prequel to We Are Liars, I believe, which is why I read that before I read We Are Liars. So this one is about a family who live on their own little island, and one year when the youngest daughter of the family dies, the teenage girl sees her spirit, and she seems to be the only one that is upset, and her two other siblings aren't as upset. And then she finds out that her mum has been keeping a big secret from her whole life. Her dad is not actually her dad, and then the girls commit a crime and they have to keep it secret, which is why they are a family of liars. Next, book 5 was Winter's Snow by Carrie Fletcher. Now this is just a short novella of about 50 pages, and this is about Vincent Winters, who has just died, and he wants to find the love of his life, Evie Snow, but he has to prove himself worthy of being able to find her in the afterlife. The next book I read was Cruel to Be Kind by Cathy. So this one, it follows a young boy who's called Max, I believe, I can't remember, but it follows a young boy who is very obese, and his mum is, his whole family are obese, but his mum ends up in hospital because she has diabetes and she has to have some toes amputated. He's left with his siblings, who are, I think, are 17, 15 and 13, something like that, and his dad, who apparently believes that looking after children and cooking and doing housework are women's jobs. But the boy, he goes to live with Cathy. She helps change his life so that he's eating healthier, but every time he goes to the hospital to visit his mum, he's reverting back and eating sweets constantly. Every time she's trying to implement new things, she's getting pushback from the mother and the social services. It's really heartbreaking to see that, she's trying to do what's right for him, but everybody else is like, no, sorry, you can't do that, because he's in care under a voluntary care order. is A Last Kiss from Mummy by Casey Watson. Now this is the first Casey Watson book that I've read. Might be the last Casey book, the only Casey Watson book I read, because I wasn't really that into the writing style. I like the Foster stories because they tell us about, people's lives that are different to our own. Well, different to most people's. But I just couldn't gel with the writing style. So, A Last Kiss from Mummy is about a girl who's 14 years old, and she ends up having a baby who she calls Roman. Now, Roman's dad is a 19-year-old lad who is in prison for drug offences. So Casey and her family are to look after the girl, to help see whether she's fit enough to look after Roman and to keep Roman, otherwise Roman is going to be taken into care. The girl seems to be fine looking after the child until her boyfriend comes out of prison, and then she starts leaving Roman with Casey and going off and not coming back, and then when she gets into fights with her boyfriend, she takes an overdose twice and then has the child taken off her, only to find out that she is pregnant again. And this time she has a little girl, and the girl they call Mercedes, and this child is close to being taken away from her as well, but she dumps the boyfriend, she changes her life, she gets a new boyfriend, they move into a new place, and she gets Roman back. So it did have a happy ending. It was just Casey's writing style that I didn't really like, but I might give another one a go because I do have one of my own that I bought. And the last book I read in August is Girl of Ink and Stars by Kiran Millwood Hargrave, I think. So this one is about a girl whose father draws maps. I think he's a cartographer, I think that's what he's called. And she has to go after her friend, who is it's not a prince, I can't remember what he's called, but she's like kind of like royalty, the young girl. She's run off into the woods where nobody's allowed to go, the forbidden forest. She's run off into that to go and to see if she can find out who killed a girl in her class at school. So the young girl disguises herself as a boy so that she can join in on this travels to go and try and find her friend. And when she finds her friend, the story changes, and they realise that it wasn't a person who killed her friend. So that is all for this wrap up. 8 books, that's a good month for me. Currently we're in September and I have read 2 books and almost finished a 3rd. So that's kind of good for me, but to be honest, one of the books I did only have like 50 pages left to read this month. So to see what books I'm reading in September, for my September TBR, check up in the eye for my Bookopolyphon video. So that's all from me today. I will leave the link to a list of the books that I read in the description box. If you like this video, hit like. If you want to see more from me, hit subscribe, and I will see you in another one. Bye!